Hello and welcome. This is Sisterhood with me, Shaili Chopra, and I'm delighted to be putting the attention on women's health, hormonal health, the massive deficiencies we have on one hand, and our obsession with fads and food on the other. Who else better than Coutinho to break this down for me, thanks to his new book called Small Wins Every Day. Thanks so much for joining us. First off, you talk about small wins every day. We all want big wins, land up with big failures. Tell me about that.
So we've actually used this practice in our practice for 9 years. So we deal with some of the most complicated cases, cancer cases with other diseases involved. And while it seemed overwhelming for the patient, they had treatments, they had doctor's appointments, they had nutrition to look after, stress levels. We figured that how do we make them feel less overwhelmed and get them to do what they need to do? And they need to do quite a bit. They need to fix the things that they were not doing over the years. So we started to break it down into small wins. You know, something like first get your water intake right. Do that for 4 or 5 days. They would automatically start feeling energetic, less dehydrated. Hey, I feel good. Now the next and the next. And we realized that that's what it's all about, small wins. And then further, as we started to work into neuroscience, we found out that's how the human brain works. When we achieve small wins, we produce dopamine. Dopamine is a reward molecule that then motivates us to do more of what we do. But if we, like you said, try to dream big and do big, we fail big because the brain tries to prevent us from failing. So if we fail with the first week of Jan, where we say we're taking a gym membership and going to the gym, and after that we just fail. Why? Because the brain stops you from going because you try to make too large a goal. So the whole concept of small wins applies to human health, relationships, everything. Break it down. Break it down. Break down complexity into little things. Get consistent with it. Let it become part of your lifestyle and then move to the next one. So that's what we've done, and that's why we thought we put this book together. Every small win in the book is based on 9 years. We have a lot more wins, but we said we keep it, let it be a small win first for people to get through this book and practice it. So that's the concept.
A very interesting part of your book is how deeply food is linked to this entire idea of feeling good. I mean, the country that thrives on delicious, diverse food. What is it that we are not getting right when it comes to food? And how much of change can we see with just a shift of our nutrition habits?
So I think nutritional medicine, as we call it, is everything for different people. And the problem is not deep fried food. The problem is the quality of the oil, how much you're eating. Before, India would get away with deep fried food because they cooked in a different oil, they fried in a different oil. It was pure ghee. It was saturated fats which were not processed, not refined, and they moved more. They had physical labor, they did their own stuff. So the point is not deep fried, because at a time when India was eating deep fried, we didn't have heart disease until the oils changed and people started to get more sedentary. So the whole point is we address food according to the uniqueness of the person, because the one thing that we've learned is everyone is different. That's why people can't all go low carb and get the same results. Some people go low carb, they put on more weight. Some people are carb efficient. So we've understood bio-individuality is different for everyone. So we address food according to everyone's specific need. Even hormonal health, for example. Sometimes if a woman or a man goes too low on carbs, it can impact their hormones. At the same time, if they go too high on carbs and low on fat, it can do the same thing. Now, what is the genetic makeup of the woman or man? What's their lifestyle? And how do you kind of adapt it? And that can change all the time. Like we know a woman's intake changes before pregnancy, during, and after. And it's the same thing with men as they age. So the whole point is not being scared of food, but understanding what suits me and thinking out of the box when it comes to all the crazy diets that exist out there. But food plays a huge role, and that's why, again, small wins comes into place. Get one meal right. How do you feel after that meal? How long did that meal keep you going in terms of energy? Were you energetic? Were you tired? Then move to the next meal, and then move to the next meal. If you're trying to introduce new fruits or vegetables into your diet, start with one. Get used to it. Learn how to cook it. Learn how to enjoy it. Then the second. So it really comes down again to small wins, but food is power when it comes to the human body and health.
Bust some myths around intermittent fasting. Is it good? Is it a fad?
It can be helpful if it's done the right way. It can be helpful if your body requires it. See, what is fasting? Look at the gap between any meal, you're fasting if you're not snacking. So the human body requires space between meals to digest, finish the first process, and then it tells you, through hunger, eat your next meal. If you can just follow that simple process of listening to your body. Now, I understand people are stressed out, they have work, so they can't always listen to their body, and that's why we have a lunchtime. It helps organize your day, a dinner time. That's okay. Intermittent fasting is not a concept, it's not a fad. It's what the human body does naturally. I'm eating. Now, if I'm not going to eat for the next 6 hours, I'm fasting for 6 hours. It can be therapeutic scientifically for many diseases, for energy levels, and it's more beneficial for people who have constantly been eating. So the moment they stop and they give their body a break, their energy levels come up. Okay, the fasting has helped. Now, some people overdo fasting because they think that, hey, if I fast, I'll lose weight. The intention is never to lose weight, because some people fast, but then in their eating phase, they're still dieting. They're not eating what their body requires. So now their metabolism falls down, and again, it's different for everyone. So I like to go back to the wisdom of the old days. Every religion fasts. But if you've seen, they do it at specific times. Like Ramadan is for a month, Lent is for a month, Jainism is for 8 days, vice versa. The point is, we don't have to fast every day. If we're following a cycle of, I eat my dinner, I'm not hungry for the next 14, 15, 16 hours, I'm not eating, I'm fasting. But the point is, people have made it a fad. Then drink coffee, fast longer. You're not fasting. You're not fasting. You're on adrenaline and cortisol produced by, it's a stimulant. You're not fasting. Yeah. So the point is, people have made it a fad again. And again, it's a fad, so people want to jump onto that cycle. Oh, I'm fasting. Everyone's saying, I'm doing a 16-8. I say, why not a 17? Why not a 15? Why have you put yourself into a box? And then they're like, oh yeah, there is no science around 16-8. It could be different for you today, it could be different for you tomorrow. So the point is, fasting can be therapeutic, and the way we look at it, like I can use it therapeutically in cancer. My patients who fast before their chemo cycles come out of it with little or no side effects, literally. So there is a lot of science, but use it the right way. We can't put ourselves in a box and say everyone fasts for 16 hours. Now, someone who's going through thyroid, for example, and has a very stressful life, and they're fasting for lengthy times, the thyroid just slows down faster and faster to conserve energy. So everyone's different. You cannot say fasting will fix all problems. It has the potential to do it. Like you can't say medicine will fix all problems. It doesn't, nor does nutrition. It has potential, but it has to be put the right way to the person in front.
Just delve into this whole idea of weight loss. We're obsessed with it in a country that's on one hand obese, and on the other hand, we are constantly looking at shortcuts to weight loss. Why, and what's your reading of it?
So I think number one is the impatience. They don't understand it's taken 2, 3, 4 years for them to put on that weight. It's not going anywhere in 3 months. You can start the process, you can lose it, but you can't punish the weight of the body. 2, most women and men in India struggle with weight loss because they're hormonally imbalanced. Okay, I mean, you would know, not you, hypothetically, someone would know, hey, I'm not losing weight because I'm eating French fries, I'm lazy, you know your reason. But when it's not that, it's an imbalance in hormones, which connects to the third point, which is stress. The biggest problem, you cannot lose weight if you're stressed out. There are very few bodies who will react differently to stress. They just want to eat, so they can't put on weight. They're underweight, they're malnourished and thin. But because of the Indian genetic makeup, the excess of estrogen in our genes, we tend to put on weight way, way faster than other genes in different countries. We can see it. We can see it with different countries and cultures. So it's all interconnected. You want to lose weight quickly. Now that becomes a stress for you. You're in a vicious cycle. You're taking a fat diet that deprives you. Now you're psychologically deprived, your body's deprived. There's more stress. And when cortisol goes up, it's literally impossible to lose weight. And that's the problem. The next biggest point is outside food. I mean, no matter where you eat, the oil is wrong and it's too much, and so is the sugar and the salt. But the point is, you can have 1 meal, 2 meals. If all your meals are coming from out, we've seen that. Our patients who start eating at home for 2 weeks shrink, get better the moment they start traveling again and going out. So there is a way to control it. It's all through your lifestyle again, portions, what you select when you eat outside. But the point is, outside food is you're trying to fix a problem, but the medicine going into you is wrong. So there are many, many, many reasons. And I think also India is seeing, I'll say it out front, there's a lot of greed amongst people today. Everyone wants more and more and more. Like years ago, we suffered from scarcity. Today, we suffer from a bigger problem, which is abundance. Yeah. So, people are making money, there's wealth, but they also are changing their lifestyles. Oh, now I have so much more money. I only eat in 5-star hotels. Like, why? Have money, but it shouldn't change your lifestyle. Enjoy, but it cannot become your way of living.
Talk to me about protein and the intake of women, particularly in India, about how much they really need, and why is protein such an important factor of our needs today, and the fact that India is deficient in protein? Are we?
It's very different. You know, there's a lot of information out there that we may need more protein. In fact, when I spoke at the IMCD, Indian Medical Association, doctors made a statement that India, 73% of the population is deficient in protein. Now, you are right. You are absolutely right, deficient in protein. But at the same time, how much protein? You have the Western influence saying you need to have like 1.2 grams, 1.5 grams and stuff. And when you're on a carnivore diet, it's very easy to get that even without a protein shake. But then move into India, where you have people practicing yoga, living simple lives and stuff, eating pure vegetarian sattvic food. They're not protein deficient. They're not protein deficient. But today, if we want to work out, build muscle, do all of that, of course the body needs more protein. But if you were just doing simple yoga, walking the traditional way, look at all of them. They're absolutely healthy and fit. So it's really dependent. Again, it's a box of protein. So I have so many clients who are not meeting their protein requirement the way the world says they should. They have simple workouts, walking, yoga. They eat very simply so they don't put on weight. Okay, simple lifestyles. That protein is sufficient for them. But today we all want to look good, so we lift weights, we go out, whatever. Of course you got to give your body more protein. So we have to decide how it is. Maintaining muscle mass is longevity. It's bones, it's everything. But yoga done the traditional way can build muscle tone, which is sufficient. Now, of course, if a woman or a man has wasting muscle, it's going to be completely different. So coming to supplementing protein, of course, if you can't get your protein from your meals because you're eating out all the time, or you're on the road, or skipping a meal, or doing all these fasts and stuff, you will need supplemental protein. So someone fasting for 18 hours, they have a 6-hour window. How are you going to fit in everything in your system if you still want to build a great body and maintain muscle tone? So it's individual again. There's nothing wrong with plant protein. There's nothing wrong with whey protein, as long as it's quality and for the right reasons. Some people say, I'll skip a meal and only have a protein shake. Wrong reason. You know, so it's really dependent. Now, some people have muscle wasting in a disease. Of course, some of them need 2 shakes a day. Some of them need amino acids. So it's different, but most women and men don't understand. It's not really just about protein. It's first about changing your lifestyle, okay, deciding which workouts you're going to be consistent with, and then building your protein requirement around that. Because when you move to under poverty in India, they don't have protein shakes. They don't have the kind of protein and availability that we have. But how do they have way better bodies than us? The men are ripped, the women are literally tight. How? They're not having so much of protein. They're active, they eat simple, and they move. So it's not about putting everyone in that category that you need so much of protein and you need so much of protein. You look at someone's body, they do really well with a small quantity of protein. So it's really individual again.
You know, women's health is very hormonal in nature, and we're not talking enough about it. Perhaps your reflections on that would help. Why is it that we don't spend enough time talking about connected care? We're constantly thinking about specific solutions, but we forget actually everything in the body is so deeply linked that we're not paying enough attention to the integrated element of it.
Yeah, because health is always and should always be integrated in nature. So in our line of business, it's integrated medicine. We're not alternative. If Ayurveda fits in, Ayurveda fits in. But we have allopathy, we have nutrition, we have everything, because the human body is a whole. So for the longest time, why do fad diets work as a market? Because they only make you believe that you're either eating too much or eating wrong or not exercising. They don't touch upon metabolic health, which is hormones. Because then when you find the root cause of it and you balance your hormones, your weight is just going to disappear, and that challenges the market of fad diets, right? So it's never been explained ever. But today it's coming up, because we know if you're stressed out, you have a hormonal imbalance. If you're sleep deprived, you have a hormonal imbalance. No matter how much you diet and exercise, it will not change what you're trying to achieve. And that's why it's always connected, because if the human body is a whole, it has to be treated like and as a whole. So your stress levels, your sleep, how much you eat, the kind of food you eat, the kind of exercise you do can also impact your hormonal health. So that's why today a lot of women and men have hormonally, like what is weight? When you see a man with a big tummy, okay, they have low testosterone, they have more estrogen. The same thing with a woman. Or you see people running marathons, but their bodies are out of shape. They're just doing it. Hormonal imbalance. But the point is, you look and you see, these are clues. The body's storing estrogen. Why? It's hormonal. It's an imbalance. So when you correct the problem at a root cause level, you change your metabolic health. And when you change your metabolic health, you have recovery.
What I really like about this book is that it's not just focused on the physical health piece, but it's also talking about how deeply connected emotional health and mental health is. Why did you choose to focus on that in the book?
Yeah, see, it's never been. 9 years ago, I would defend nutrition as a very strong subject. And today, it's at the bottom of the paradigm. It's important because everything starts in the mind. If I'm mentally happy, I've slept well, I'm not going to wake up craving donuts and stuff like that. I will eat well, but if I'm sleep deprived and stressed out, there's no way I'm going to crave an apple or nuts or seeds and stuff like that. So over the years, we've changed. We've been trying to fix people up here first. Like if you're sad, you're not going to go to the gym. You're not going to be motivated to do that. But when you feel good, things are going well, you know how to feel well, you're stable mentally. Okay, you do these things without having to be pushed. And that's why we talk so much about emotional health and mental health. Even the state of relationships. People today are in the best relationships, like the best marriages, whatever, but they fall apart. Why? It's starting over here. It's nothing else. Sometimes it's physical problems, rarely, or maybe a lot, but the point is it's starting over here because of behavior, how they talk, tone, the mother-in-law syndrome in India, all of these things that happen together. So if this is the root cause of the problem, that's where we need to put more of our effort. So a lot of our work revolves today, starting point. Like when a patient comes to me, my first question to a cancer patient is, what was going on in your life 6 months to a year before you got diagnosed? Start with your emotional health. And there is almost always a connection or something deeply rooted. So that's why we stress on that part of it.
What are going to be some of the biggest challenges that people will face in the coming years in India?
So what I believe is we are going to go through exactly what the US went a couple of years ago. Cancer is going to skyrocket purely because of lifestyle. See, out of 100% of the cancers, 4 to 6 or 7% are genetic. So no matter what we do, how fit we are, unfit we are, if we need to get it and the gene expresses, we will get it. There's a lot that you can do, so we don't have to be scared. The balance, 94%, is caused by poor lifestyle. And it is only skyrocketing more and more because number one, okay, people will say, but why didn't it happen 10 years ago? We're up against the odds. We don't have the right air to breathe. Our source of fuel is wrong. From food, pesticides, air, polluted, carcinogens. Whether you're a smoker or non-smoker, it hits us. Qualities of water. So you see, we're up against the odds. So we have everything to make cancer favorable. It's a challenge, and that's why we have to go beyond what we do to look after our health today. Before 10 years, we wouldn't have to worry about these little things and stuff like that, but we have to. Cancer, cardiovascular will continue to kill people unless we learn as a nation to start to take it easy with stress. And it starts with perception. Everyone has problems. Everyone has problems. And that's where spirituality comes in. Where we have to, and I'm not saying go deeply into spiritual, learn how to accept, learn how to let go. That brings up another point, ego and pride, which is the number one obstacle to people doing the right things. Exercise. Oh, I have money, I'll eat this. Oh, I can pay the doctor. We have people in India who say, oh, look, I have enough of money. If my liver fails, don't worry, I can buy a liver, right? They'll ask. I can buy a heart, right? Like, so we have wealth, we have education, and we have a lot of ignorance in that whole thing. So the point is, this is going to get, but mental health and emotional health, whoa, huge. And that's connected with cancer, and that's connected with cardiovascular. But change is always possible, and it's already happening. It's already happening. It's just that it needs to reach this dynamic country in different languages, in different ways, and it has to become a norm. It has to become the new normal, that, hey, this is not okay. Living with constipation is not okay. And the doctors have to say that. Oh, come, don't worry, I'll give you a syrup. Take this syrup. No, they have to say, go back. Lifestyle has to be prescribed by doctors. Listen, I'm giving you a pill. Take it, but change your lifestyle. And when it comes from top down, that, hey, a doctor's telling me to change my lifestyle, people will do it. Yeah. So it's a lot of things coming together, but these are the diseases which will rage. And one more, cognitive brain decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, you will see it shooting up right now because these diseases just don't happen. If we're meant to get it, it started 15 to 20 years ago in the brain, which means what we're doing today will determine how we're going to be 20 years down the line. So these are things that are coming, not to put fear in everyone. It's more of, hey, I don't want to have that. How should I live? What should I change? So that's how it is.
Thanks very much for joining us, and it's an absolute pleasure. I look forward to your next book.